mentioned on Monday that in addition to this, I also do these other videos over on another channel once a week. On Mondays. This week we were talking about resurrection stories, but also I had a whole bunch of like catching up stuff that I had to talk about before I could even talk about the resurrection stories. And also I'm always really bad at trying to come up with a whole list of all the things when I don't like actually take the time to think about it beforehand. So our topic this week was resurrection stories, and our hope was that this time people would start to like make videos themselves after we made our Monday, Wednesday, Friday videos and do this thing that we were calling Segway Magic Saturday. And today is Saturday, and I forgot my like actual most favorite resurrection story, so I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep talking about it. And it's not cheating because I'm doing it in a different place. So the thing that I'm gonna talk about is from the final His Dark Materials book. I fucking love these books with all my heart and soul, and every time that I've vlogged about them, I've been very like cryptic on purpose because I want everyone ever to read them and I don't want to spoil anything. But I am about to spoil the shit out of something because that is the only way I can talk about it. And also I'm really excited because I love these books and I'm excited to like talk about them and not be you haven't read the books, just stop watching this video. Go read the books. What are you doing? Go fix that now. In the third book, Will and Lyra go into the land of the dead, and Mari sort of hesitated on whether or not this really even counted. She included it on her list, but like is dubious because they don't really die, but like I feel her on that, especially because the whole series is very much about this idea that like we have to concentrate on the living and on being among the living and on like the here and the now and the world in which we actually inhabit and exist. But it's also about a lot of other things, including the coming of age of these two characters who, if you read the whole series, I feel like you kind of have to fall in love with. And for all the things we see them go through in the trilogy, I feel like that moment where we see them part with their demons, where Lyra's great prophecy of betrayal is fulfilled, is probably the biggest moment of like growth. They really don't know that they're going to see their demons again, or that they will actually get to leave the land of the dead. And it's basically the most painful thing that they have to go through, but they do it because it's what's right. Lyra puts her deep conviction that this is what is just and what is right ahead of the excruciating pain that it causes her, and Will also puts his faith in her judgment ahead of that. And it's there in the land of the dead that they really learn like the core message, that whole idea of concentrating on living your life while you are living. Lyra lies to the Harpies and is attacked for it and finally wins them over through an accidental moment of telling the truth. And then when they're bartering their way out of the land of the dead with the Harpies, there's this wonderful moment where the Harpies explain that like people who come down to the land of the dead and want to be permitted back out of it need to come bearing stories. Like they need to come as people who have lived and been part of the world. And there's something very common to resurrection stories kind of in that idea that like characters who die and are resurrected generally have a very different outlook on life after that moment. And finally, that whole scene actually ends with a kind of resurrection for the actual dead. It's not like a full proper resurrection. They don't resume their old lives, but they are allowed to sort of be reborn, resurrected as part of the whole rest of everything. I mean, in universe, it's described as Lyra killing death. She's ending death. She's triggering the resurrection of everyone, in effect. Or at least everyone who comes down with stories to tell. Everyone who has truly lived among the living. And it's fitting, you know, because like having lived the one time is sort of a necessary qualification for being resurrected. I could talk about my deep love for these books and specifically that whole going into the land of the dead business for like ever and ever, but whew, this is already getting real long.
Got him. Got him. Nailed it.